Thank you for listening to our conversation today. During recording last week, it became clear that we had to split this initial talk into two parts in order for nothing to be lost due to time restrictions. Please enjoy part 2 of our special episode of ROQ Shop Talk on diversity and inclusion in the decorated apparel space. In case you missed it, please visit rock.us/ROQ Shop Talk. That's ROQ.us/ROQ Shop Talk, or tune in wherever you get your podcast. Until next week, press onward.
Welcome to ROQ Shop Talk. Our show talks best practices, fun anecdote, and the latest cutting-edge technology in our field to kick your screen printing gear into hyperdrive.
Today's episode features the topic of diversity and inclusion in the decorated apparel space, and we're joined by our special guests,
Gavin StGeorges of Proud T-Shirts, Amber Massey of T-Shirts for Hope, Nick Burton of Eternal Designs, and Mike Kahn of Synergy Media.
To follow the ROQ US tour bus and even reserve a visit when we come through your town, follow hashtag ROQ US Tour on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be right back.
Cool. We want to welcome everyone back to ROQ Shop Talk, your one-stop rock shop where we discuss all things screen printing. Today, we are joined by our special guest, Gavin StGeorges of Proud T-Shirts, Amber Massey of T-Shirts for Hope, Nick Burton of Eternal Designs, and Mike Kahn of Synergy Media, along with ROQ US's Brian Richards and our creative producer, Merrill Caps.
Hello.
We again are discussing today diversity and inclusion in the decorated apparel space. And we kind of left off with a question from Brian. If you want to kind of repeat that for our guests, and we'll go around and continue our conversation.
Sure. So we were kind of digging into the differences earlier in diversity and inclusion, and trying to understand what those differences are, and then trying to understand, how to actually, instead of telling, showing, right, and really putting it out there to embrace what we're saying and what's our intent, what we're meaning to do. And when we say we want to increase or be more aware or be more inclusive, and how do we go about measuring those things if we're on this mission altogether? So, Gavin, I think mentioned earlier, it's baby steps, right? It's not like you can see the finish line, but you can't go straight to the finish line. And maybe just opening that door is the first step in order to almost force the issue and have it kind of become more natural and snowball from there. But I'd be interested to get everyone else's take on things that you do within your business, or what you would recommend for people who want to do this, on how to measure that.
I'll say from personal experience, which with Allmade, I love it. It's not really in my customers' budget right now, but it's something that I love and I support, and I've tried to push it, and I got a lot of pushback just because a lot of my customers just want cheap. But one of my biggest things was with Ashley and Laurel and Ryan was I was selling to my Black customers, and all their models were white, and it was white, like white blonde hair. And I'm just like, y'all, I can't throw together a proof on a white person with blonde hair when I'm selling to an all Black organization. Like, they're like, well, okay. And so I had the idea of like, can you get me a proof of like just the silo of like, what does the aluminum match? Does it match alternative? Does it match Bella? And they're like, we're not sure. So I did all the research on it. And then I'm just like, this is what I need. Like, can I put your proof on this, alternative shirt, which I totally should not. But kind of frustrated a little bit on there. And then maybe 2 hours later, Ashley calls back and she's like, hey, we're going to do a photo shoot and we're going to add to it that it'll be able to help you out. It was amazing. And it's not that they didn't want to provide that, or I just think they didn't know. I mean, it's one of those things like listening to everybody, you're going, wait, like, I have a white person in a t-shirt and it's not going to sell to the Black community. I think sometimes companies are naive on things, or especially a newer company, that they're not aware of it. But I think for those of us that are minorities or anybody else, that a lot of places, if you just like, make them aware of it, or it just didn't click. I think that a lot of companies will do what they should to include people. I'm sure there are companies that will not, but I think sometimes it's just awareness.
It's interesting that you
said some things
that you say that, when I kind of went back to sort of this epiphany that I feel like I had not too long ago. I mean, and I'll tell you guys, I had it. Oprah Winfrey put out a great special in the last few weeks, and she took over the entire group of Discovery Networks and had a panel much larger than the one that we have here today. But it was all people with different backgrounds, and they were all talking about, this current movement. And I felt like, again, when I didn't see before, like you're saying, like new companies, maybe they just don't see, and this goes to Gavin's point. I think part of the problem is we have to start seeing before. It needs to be proactive, right? And so this is when I was kind of asking about like, what can businesses do? And, I know a lot of companies have diversity teams where they actually put together a group of people within the organization. I'm sure organizations like Google and AT&T and et cetera have these. And it's a group that really focuses on that culture from a full aspect of the company. So it's not just, hey, who are we hiring? But it's, what does our marketing look like? Who are we talking to? What are the messages we're putting out? What's going on social? Who are our customers, right? It's like this total inclusive model. And, I think it's the naivety, of a new business or even of myself, right? And I own this personally right now, that, we have that's not solving the actual big problem. And it's like, it's the proactiveness that actually needs to start to take place and take root in all small businesses, medium businesses, large businesses, and with individuals, proactively making that change. So I don't know, that wasn't really a question. I just kind of wanted to piggyback off of what you were saying, kind of add, stuff that we're looking at doing here, through all this. And, me and my wife talk about all this every night, and she's on social and she's like, hey, I need to call this person. And it's like, you're starting to see a shift where it's this proactive shift, because she'll read something and it's like, no, this can't come from you. I need to make a change. And she's in education as well as you are. And so she's actually on a board of a diversity group, and they're doing, an entire push into the schools right now, because it's a big problem. And it starts in the schools with that non-inclusiveness, especially when you get into predominantly white neighborhoods and, areas that are predominantly one race, it makes it really tough. So I think it's time for everyone to make a stand. And I think that companies can put together groups of people that, are on a mission to make change. And that's how it starts. So then it's not the customers coming and asking for a picture, or not someone pointing it out. It's already there. It's ready, and it's a part of their culture and what they're doing moving forward. So, and again, that's no knock on All Made in any way, but I just wanted to take that and sort of expand on it a little bit.
How does that ring true? I'm sorry, go on.
I will say with this, with Merrill, I called earlier. First of all, I was confused on Pacific time, which I'm not good with numbers, but I totally lost my train of thought. But this sounds really bad, but like the ROQ woman or whatever, like I was not aware of that. And part of that is probably my fault until I got this email. Like you just said, like we started this movement for ROQ women. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Women ROQ. It's a Facebook group.
Yeah. I haven't been on a lot of social media lately, but I'm like, I should know that stuff, but it's me being off social media. So I think as a customer too, that we have to do a little bit of research, but y'all emailing me and reaching out, it was like, wait, I'm missing out on a lot of stuff. So I think y'all did a good job on that end. If you actually went through the customers and went, hey, we're looking for a female to be on this panel and stuff.
That's interesting. For those who want to participate, perhaps offline, is there, from your perspective and your experience, is there a better place for us to get the word out that's not online?
I'm on social media. I just like
On
I
it
don't-
light.
I go on Facebook when I have a question and I go to Rock Band or whatever.
Gotcha.
That's kind of my activity on social media. But I would think most people are on social media. Y'all, I'm not that old. I know I said I was old, but I am on social media.
Amber,
You just don't use it like that.
I hate social media, so I'm right there in your corner. It's an unfortunate thing that we have to use it for business, but
I would say
it's hard to look at sometimes.
signing up to do the follow by emails. Like I love getting emails in my box. Like that's the best place for me. I get on social media and I get overwhelmed or frustrated or sidetracked, especially with what's going on now. Like I want to focus on the positives, but as soon as I click on Twitter, it's just like, my good vibes and my prayer time just went out the window in 30 seconds.
Well,
So
you and everyone here listening are more than welcome to join. It's hashtag Women Rock on Facebook. It's all about celebrating women in business and empowerment and talking about what we're talking about right here today about these sorts of things. So by all means,
just on Facebook?
The group is just on Facebook, but we typically about once a month we'll get together for what we call a rocktail party, like hanging out like this on Zoom, and different people across the country just share where they're at, what they need, what they're thinking about.
And it's a closed group.
Yeah, it doesn't go anywhere.
It's a
safe space,
and we can send you an invite to it.
Totally, yeah.
I think I'm already on there recently.
Hey, Walt, Can I touch on something you said?
Please.
So, because you said something, Amber said something, and I kind of want to say something, kind of going back to Brian's question of measurement. I'm going to say this. The Black Lives Matter movement, I guess I'll let people say it's a movement, but it's not. It's more like a revolution, right? Mm-hmm. There's so much change that's happened out of this. Like, there's no one thing that's not happening now. And I go back to the diversity thing that you said as well. When the whole thing happened with H&M and with Gucci, you don't think they said, hey, maybe we need to have some more Black voices in here because we don't want to get dragged on Twitter or anywhere else for that matter. I think it's hey, if somebody tells you there's a shark in the water and you still walk in the water, if you get bit, that's your fault. Like if somebody tells you this is what it is, this is what it is. Before you walk into the water, how about you come up with a plan and actually figure out how you want to navigate it, how you want to swim those waters. A diversity thing definitely has to happen, but here's one way to hold yourself accountable and people can hold you accountable. Put out whatever you plan on doing, put it out to the public. Mm-hmm. Put it out there. Let me checklist what you're saying you're going to do. I think Ryan that did that with I think it was the 365 as far as taking out certain harmful products that will be, cancer causing, right? Put it out there so we can see exactly what you're going to do. That way we can hold you accountable and say, hey, you said around this time, this is supposed to happen. We don't see it. What's the holdup? That's going to make you feel more accountable to this. I know, for example, if I tell a customer that I'm going to do something and I don't do it when I need to, I get instant anxiety because I know they're going to call me. And I'm like, man, he's going to call me. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, I don't want to have that problem. So that's one of those things. And kind of going back to Gavin's point with that. So it's literally show me the numbers, but show me the money. If you say you're going to actually put the money there, I hear all these people saying that they're donating this money to this cause. Where's Sway? I don't see this money. Like, where is it going? You say you're doing it. It's just lip service. Show me where those dollars are actually going. Give me some type of statement, profit, loss, whatever. It doesn't matter. Show me exactly where those dollars are going so I can hold you accountable. And you should be willing to be held accountable to say, because then it's more fulfilling for you. It's the feeling that we all get, and we have all experienced this. You get to prove somebody wrong. Such a great feeling, right? You get to be like, hi, I thought I was going to fail. I didn't. I actually, completed this task. I actually did what I was supposed to do. And as a company and as an industry, but it's one of those things where I do that. Like, I know that there's someone that's going to say, hey, you say you was going to do this, you didn't do it. I'm holding you accountable, right? And the way that kind of works for us as a business, right? That kind of comes across in the review, right? If somebody does a review of my company and they say, hey, this person's great, but they didn't do this, this, and this, that's accountability. That makes me go back and say, hey, well, I need to kind of figure out how I'm going to do this or how I'm going to navigate that. It really, truly all goes, it's going to be measured by us all holding each other accountable. I don't think it has to be something that's truly just an internal process. It needs to be something that's very visible. Again, it goes back to, what I've said before. I hear what you're saying, but can I see what you're saying? Show me, put your money where your mouth is. If you're saying you're going to do it, let's see.
Absolutely. Does anyone else have anything to add, Mike?
No, I'm kind of like, echoing whatever, like everybody has said. And you going to what Nick just said, I mean, like when we used to do things, that's exactly what we would do. Like, like we would say that publicly, obviously, because we would send press releases out about all this stuff. So it was out there. But, then the last thing we wanted to do is have people come to us and question our motives or, like, are we really doing it? So every time that we would make a donation, we would take a screen cap of the donation or the letter from the wherever we gave the money and stuff. And we would post that, front and center. That way there was no question that, like you said, that like, it wasn't that it was just the intent there, but there was the action that followed it. And we did what we said that we would do,
Awesome. Well, hopefully, as we plan internally, I love accountability partners. So I'm very big on that. In fact, Ryan is my weight loss accountability partner right now. And he talks to me every day about how much I worked out and how many ice baths I took. So it'll be cool to like have this group, maybe even, I mean, for us, I think that the outside, that there's an internal perspective, then there's an external perspective as well. And having those two join forces to make change is always best, right? It's always that two heads are better than one. And obviously, 8 heads are better than 2. And this is something that we want to really dig into. So I hope that some of you on this call would be willing to help us, in this journey and be that accountability partner, just as Nick said, because it's an important part of everything we do in life. If you don't have that person holding you accountable, it's really easy to stray off course and it's almost like you all for naught, right? So very cool. And that brings me kind of to this next quote. Fashion conglomerate PVH reported 2 studies by McKinsey and Company, which revealed that organizations with a high level of racial and ethnic diversity in their senior management ranks were 33 to 35% more likely to be high performing than their peers. Research has demonstrated that diverse organizations are more innovative. A Columbia Business School study focused on, I think you misspelled that.
Expatriate.
Oh.
Expatriate creative.
Expatriate creative directors found that international and intercultural exposure helps the fashion business, that the uniqueness in their cultural experience had positive effects on their creative process. So does that quote ring true to anyone in here? And I know Nick wrote a little bit about this again in his blog when we're talking about managerial level diversity, sort of in the beginning of this quote. So I wanted to kind of open up the floor to get some thoughts on that information.
I mean, how can it not? I mean, it's like now you have this like diverse group of people that I know, and again, maybe, but I know what like my community, my LGBT community, gravitates towards to. Just like, Gavin, Nick may know what African-American community may gravitate to, just like Amber may know what women want, right? So of course, having people that run your business, and literally run the business, right? These executive and stuff, be diverse is just natural that business is going to be more successful because all these people can give input as to how to really reach out the wide audience and not that just white male or white female, you know?
Right. Absolutely.
And how not to reach out.
Exactly. Yeah, because there's definitely the wrong way of, you know what I mean? Like, and sometimes, I think the intent is good. It just, it's kind of like misguided, unfortunately, because again, it was driven by somebody that, we're trying to, I think often, large corporations have really good intent, but, and let's say they're trying to reach, the LGBT community. So instead of having somebody, that's part of their, let's say, employee resource group, right? Kind of like drive that initiative, they're going to have somebody that can't really relate to it. So, they'll create a product or an initiative that, even though that the intent was good and they want to do something positive, it came off in a wrong way because really it didn't, it wasn't relatable to that specific demographic that they're going after.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then also, I'll say this to piggyback off that, it's just perspective too, right? I mean, if you have a diverse group of people, they're all going to have different perspectives, which you're going to be able to get to a really good consensus of how you should move about doing something, right? I mean, if you bring this point, if Mark brings his point, Amber brings his point, Gavin brings his point, if we all bring these points together and say, well, I don't know about this, I don't know about that, we can have a really good conversation before we actually get to a nice conclusion. But we've thought about all angles, all sides almost. So when you do something, it really does, it seems well thought out because you have all this different perspectives added into the conversation versus maybe one single solitary kind of, thought process of line or thinking that's, one perspective that, again, goes to Mike's point. Like, you put out something and you're like, oh, that didn't work right. That didn't do what I want. So yeah, this perspective, man. I mean, I think that's easily one reason why those businesses are a lot more successful for sure.
Yeah. So I'll say this. So I'm the owner of my business. So almost pretty much anything I say goes, right? So I kind of drive the vibe or drive the feel that I want in my business, right? And I have a lot of influence in my business, right? So let's say in a corporate setting, an employee may not have that much influence, but an executive will. So inclusion, could start with an employee, but if making a true difference and you want to reach, say, a broader customer base, has to be somebody that has a voice that's respected. The person that's let's say McDonald's that's cooking your fries, nobody's gonna really listen to that person, right? But let's say the manager of that place or the VP or whatever, if that person's kind of represent, people could kind of connect with that person. Yeah, so they'll have a lot more influence. So it's definitely I'm all for getting Black people in position where they could have influence when it's deserved. So yeah, that's my thought on that.
Nice. Really nice.
Beautiful. Thank you for joining us on this conversation. If you'd like to be more involved or have ideas to share, please send them to hello@roq.us. That's hello@roq.us. One of the things that I think is so awesome about this industry is that, it's not just ink on shirt, right? It's not just business. It's literally we are helping to get a message out there where, you'll see somebody wearing your t-shirt or wearing your or holding your sign or wearing a hat that has a particular message at a rally or at an event, advocating for a cause and in a way enacting change. So I just wanted to go around and kind of, hear if there was anything that stood out to anybody now or, potentially in the past where you've had a particular piece of art or a particular message that just resonated with you and that you were proud to be able to not only produce, but to, really feel like you were influencing change in a particular area.
Go ahead, Gavin. I would say recently I've done something because I tend to do a lot of printing for some clothing brands. And there's a clothing brand recently that they wanted something kind of new and fresh, something that will attract more some of the younger youth. And I was like, okay. You know how it kind of goes. Sometimes people come in with an idea and they want to do something, and you're like, okay, so you want to do what now? And they're trying to sell you on the idea, and it's not really clicking. So they kind of told me what their idea was, and I was like, I'm gonna have to sit on it. And I was like, it's okay, take your time. We have some time for it. So I sat on it for private as long as I could sit on it. And then I was like, hey, so where's that art that you say you're supposed to do? And I was like, yeah, I'll get it to you. Funny enough, I'm very much a Kobe Bryant fourth quarter kind of guy. So I was like, let me let's see if I can just put something together real quick. So in like 2 hours, I threw something together. But for whatever reason, I guess in that time span, it clicked what they were looking for. But essentially, it's a heart that has 5 different colors, and all different colors are kind of different. And the whole thought process behind this for their movement is love lives. And their whole thought process is it lives everywhere. It lives in you. It lives in everything that we do. Whatever you continue to do, and you whatever that may be, just understand that you should do it with love, because love, has no bounds. And I think for me right now, I think that's kind of what we need. You need a little bit more love across all spectrums, man. I generally love everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't really, there's no need for me to dislike or hate anybody. If I don't know you, like, let me just talk to you. If you're an asshole after that, then I can say, all right, I don't know if I like him like that. But until then, let me just talk to you. And I think for me, doing that particular piece at the time was, I didn't know how impactful it was. I did it and I was like, okay, yeah, here you go. And I was like, oh my God, this is great. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. I didn't really think too much else about it. But the response from their customers, I think that's what got me, because I think it resonated with them. I mean, the initial order was for like, I think they did pre-orders, and it was like 100 shirts, and then not even 2 days later, that's like, hey, we need another order. And I was like, oh, okay. So the message kind of started to kind of move a little bit more. And I was like, hey, I think that's what it's all about. But messaging is everything. But for me, that was the one piece of art as of late that I was like, it kind of resonated with me a little bit.
Mr. Gavin?
Mike, you got anything?
I'm good. Go ahead.
Yeah. So a lot of my customer base are Haitian. I'm Haitian. So yeah. And it's kind of crazy that we're talking about this, because like, if you think about it, Haitians are Black and refugees, a lot of us, right? So it's like a double battle in some ways, right? Because I remember just growing up, I had to almost kind of earn the respect of Blacks in this country, right? And then got to that, had to earn the respects of whites in this country. Just like, all right, so whatever, off that. So a favorite, a lot of stuff that I do is like, especially when I do projects for Haiti or that has Haiti connected to it, is done like a lot of time from my heart, and sometimes not even for profit, right? So there's this artwork that we've done that has, if any of you guys went to Haiti with Almade, Mike's been in Haiti. You know about Tap, right? Yeah. So you see all the cars with all the crazy designs on them. That was like a crazy, so we had a client that came to us that wanted to, it's actually a pretty high profile Asian person. They came to us, they wanted this tap, and we know screen printing with a lot of colors is crazy, a lot of setup and time. At first we was like, I don't know if we want to do this, but when it came out so nice. So that artwork was, it was rewarding in the sense where it was like a challenging artwork to do, like on the screen printing side. It was also rewarding because it was a Haitian art. It was rewarding. It got a lot of publicity within the Haitian community. That shirt was like a big hit within like the community. A lot of talks was about it on social, whatever.
Did one a couple years ago, and I think after this conversation, I'm going to reprint it. But it just says, "If it matters, let it matter." It's just very simple wording, and I feel like right now, just everybody is in different places with the virus and Black Lives Matter, and just especially being in Georgia, got so much going on lately. I think I'm just going to relaunch it, and I mean, everybody can wear it. Doesn't matter if you're Black, white, anything else. If it matters, let it matter.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
I like that a lot.
And Mike, I bet you've got a slew of.
I'm like, like which one? I mean, obviously, like that's kind of like, what we do. But, one of my favorite ones is just, like legalized love. I mean, and I think it's just like universal, right? I mean, obviously the LGBT community, like it's clearly, until marriage equality, like we weren't able to, to marry. But, just overall, I mean, if you look back, there was a time when, if you were Black, you wouldn't be able to marry, a white person. And it just, things, we live in a time where things change, and, hopefully that, as we move kind of like forward in time, they change in a positive way. As you guys mentioned at the beginning of the, of the podcast, there have been some really, exciting news that came out of, SCOTUS, like this week, a couple of days ago, like with the, with the workplace protections for, LGBTQ individuals. And then, today, with the DACA,
Right.
protection, which is huge. So, as messed up as the country may be, and, kind of like the messaging from the top that comes out daily, sometimes I honestly, I was like, do we like live in the same realm? And I literally mean realm because, clearly we perceive things in a completely different, different ways. But, I think the protests that have happened over, like last couple of weeks, and honestly, they're still ongoing, which is amazing to see, clearly are having an effect, right? We were talking earlier about, the action and then the effect. Like you're definitely seeing it, with public pressure, things change. And if you apply that pressure long enough, you're going to see results. And I hope that, as a country and as a community, we don't stop applying pressure and think until we see all the changes that we want to see, and until everyone, whether it's, color of your skin or, your sexuality or, gender or whatever it may be, until we're truly equal, because, we're not. I mean, that's just a matter of fact.
Yeah, it's I like what Nick said earlier. It's a revolution, and it's sad. It saddens me to think like we're here right now. This stuff all just happened. Why didn't this happen 10 years ago, 400 years ago? I mean, it's been 400 years. I'm actually getting emotional. I'm sorry, because it's tough.
Well,
to
1968
think
already happened.
It took this,
Yeah.
and it's happened already. I mean, not in my lifetime or any of yours. I don't think anyone here is old enough, but I mean, it's like it's just been ongoing, and it's just crazy to me. So I hope that this isn't a movement. I know for us it's a revolution, and we can spearhead change, hopefully within our industry and definitely outside of it. And I do kind of want to sort of wrap up. I've got another question. For me, and our group here, we've been following Oprah Winfrey segments on Where Do We Go From Here. If you guys haven't seen it, it's actually Really incredible, really powerful conversations that she's having with a whole group of professionals in all different walks of life in the African American community in the U.S. And I wanted to let our viewers know it's called Where Do We Go From Here? You can see it on Discovery. It's also on the Oprah Winfrey Network. You can go straight to that from Google. Just Google Oprah Winfrey Network. It's on her homepage. It's free to watch. But does anyone on the call have good resources or things that they've seen? I know what's hard right now is the media is not the place to get good information. I mean, we've kind of touched on that a little bit in this conversation. You're either getting far left, far right, crazy, far this way. I mean, it's not a great source right now. So I wanted to give you guys an opportunity, maybe give some of our listeners some things that you found or websites or resources within local communities that are good places for folks to go to get more educated on the topic of diversity, inclusion, and to be a part of, this revolution that we're talking about right now.
I think,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just think, as far as, resources, information, look for information within the marginalized groups, listen to them, don't get it from the media, get it directly from the people that are being affected by whatever is going on. And again, for each kind of like disenfranchised group or community, resources are going to be different. But, we're fortunate enough to live in an age where, like you said earlier, a simple Google search with some keywords will lead to some, pretty reputable, sources on there. But again, just, try to go to the source rather than relying on whatever it may be. What, definitely it's not social media, because we definitely know that that's not, it definitely skews one way or another. But again, if it's truly something that, that interests you, I would definitely say, go to the source. Also, for business owners that, that may, be minority business owners, I strongly, encourage them. And those of you that are on the call as well, there are national accreditations to become, a minority business. And again, if nothing else, it gives you an opportunity to get in front of people that normally you wouldn't be able to on a kind of like level playing field. And it's really up to you to put your best foot forth. But again, I think I said it earlier, take that, what makes you unique, and make it like a strength rather than something that, that you think is kind of like holding you down as a business owner.
That's great. Anyone else have feedback?
Yeah.
There?
Yeah. So definitely, I would say definitely piggybacking off of what Mike said. Definitely look at the groups that are being marginalized. For sure, they definitely can give you good resources. I'm a documentary kind of guy. One documentary right now that's kind of very much kind of at the root or the basis here. 13th is on Netflix. Kind of talks about the whole kind of prison system and kind of what's going on with that. I think that's a good place to start. There are other documentaries as well. I think personally, when I watch those things, I tend to take, I've taken a lot of notes here in this conversation, but I tend to take that stuff and then do more Google searching and researching out of it. But I would say right now, if you kind of want to know why, the whole, NFL thing with Colin Kaepernick happened and a few other things as well, and the whole thing around police brutality, start there. That's a really good place to kind of look at. Also going back to the things for minority businesses, I'm going through the process now, becoming a minority, nationally accredited minority business. Somebody talked to me about that. I got that from my small business administration kind of office here. They kind of was telling me about it and saying, hey, man, there's a lot of money there to be made, and there's money allocated just for these businesses. So that's something I'm in the process of doing now. So I would say definitely for businesses, check, your small business administration office or anything like that, to have information about that can kind of help you learn what some of these programs are. That can help your business as well. And of course, any level of documentaries talking about these issues. Tiger King, you're not going to get too much out of that, but but yeah, the Third Things, that's a good starting place. But yeah, I mean, documentaries is probably a good place to start.
Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah. So I would say somebody told me this before in my life early. Whatever you're looking for, you're gonna find it. Like if you're looking for good, you're gonna find it. If you're looking for bad, you're gonna find it. Like, no, come on. Like, I would almost challenge, like, do this, what me and Nick does often. Go into the room where you're not comfortable, you know what I mean? Like, go into the room where you're probably like the only person. Like, we know all these groups, whether it's LGBT women groups or Black groups, they all have their own little conferences, their own little talks. Like, these things are widely available everywhere. So I would say it would be that, maybe like where it's not so raw, like it could be like in a professional setting, like say a conference or whatever. Like, yeah, maybe attend like a Black professionals conference or something like that.
That's great advice, Gavin.
I love that.
That's like real world. That is great advice.
Yeah. Then you will hear the conversation and you understand like what type of tone or what type of, like, how to speak to some of the pain or some of the struggle or whatever. So that probably would be my advice.
Thank you.
Amber, you have anything to add?
I'm with Nick on documentaries. As for news and outlets, I go from one extreme to the other by choice, and then I research in the middle. So like we were talking about just current events in Atlanta. I mean, I spend an hour on CNN and an hour on Fox, and then I research and watch raw video. Just so, they always say there's his side, her side, and then the truth. So I get as much knowledge from everywhere, and then I dig in.
Awesome. Very cool.
That's really wise. Something I'd like to say in relation to this is that something that's very clear to me is that this conversation, there's no way for this to be exclusive to this one talk. So it's my hope that we can continue this as a series and pick up with all you wonderful ladies and gentlemen and elsewhere out there to continue like you said, Nick, to hold us accountable, to hold you accountable, to share this journey together as we progress and learn from what we've learned here and apply it in our business and our relationships, et cetera, but to check in periodically and say, how are things going? And what are some new ideas? So if you'd be open to that, we'd love to have you back and continue leading the charge here.
Sure.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Just a quick little random thing. If Gavin, you were talking about, going to conferences and stuff. I'm not the most eloquent people. I mean, I really enjoy, hearing people that speak well. If you guys ever have an opportunity to actually go to TEDx, the local version of TED Talks. TED Talks are impossible to get into. You have to be invited, but TEDx is local. If you want to go somewhere for a day or two and feel super like recharged and driven and inspired by people's stories, like I highly recommend it. It really gives you this kind of like renewed like energy and drive. And again, you can get that definitely from some of these, like minority, like conferences that they have as well. Again, there's some really powerful speakers that definitely, give you the energy that you need and that can sustain you for, through the next few months, in your life.
Awesome, guys. Well, I want to end here with just an unbelievable, huge thanks to all of you for joining us and being a part of this talk. And as Merrill said, it's not a hopefully, we will continue this conversation. Hopefully you'll be a part of it and enjoyed our time here today. Actually, I'd love one more favor, and this is something you guys can all think about, but I would like to start a some kind of hashtag. Like we have the Women Rock, which is its own thing. I'd love something for
Diversity.
what we're working towards here in diversity and inclusion. If you guys come up with something cool, please shoot it over to Merrill or let us know. It's something we're going to kind of noodle on, but I want to put it on the side of our tour bus. We're getting the whole thing wrapped, and it's going to have some of we only have like 3 main hashtags. And so I'd love to add this one to it and then have a way to start, tagging our progress and, putting stuff out there to create that accountability. And possibly even get like a cool, like closed Facebook page going for shop owners, like a nice place for everyone to, run ideas past each other, hold each other accountable. I've always had accountability partners through business, and it's such an important thing, and it's easier to do in a closed setting where, everyone's comfortable. So
I would have loved to have posted that T-shirt on a closed group and let Nick have told me in a closed group that I'm gonna get bashed on Twitter before I went live. I mean, that would have been huge. It would have saved me days of tears. I mean, like, I seriously, I'm like, I'm done. Like, I am done. I'm not coming up with any ideas. I'm not going back to the shop. So
I would have looked at it and said, I don't know if this one's it. I would have said, I think you might want to.
Well, I'm wearing white silence is violence to an all white baseball tournament this weekend. So we will see.
Mm-hmm.
I might be on the newspaper for one reason or the other.
Yeah.
White silence.
I stand with you.
I want to give a huge thanks to our special guests, Gavin StGeorges of Proud T-Shirts, Amber Massey of T-Shirts for Hope, Nick Burton of Eternal Designs, and Mike Kahn of Synergy Media for participating today in our Diversity and Inclusion podcast. As always, thank you for spending time with us this week. Tune in next week or at your convenience on wherever you listen to your podcast by searching ROQ Shop Talk. That's ROQ Shop Talk. On our next show, we'll discuss the topic of foil, special effects, and simulated processes in screen printing. If you'd like to join the live Zoom hangout or even request to be on the show, please visit roq.us/ROQ Shop Talk. If you found today's episode helpful, the greatest accolade we could ask for is for you to recommend it to a friend who you think may find it helpful as well. Please like, share, and subscribe on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. Until next time, rockers, press onward.